a little bit in sync with what the practice will be today. So, resurrection. I believe that beautiful story, the Christ story, the Passover stories, and their truths all speak to a similar reality. They all speak to a similar reality. And it is the reality that there is the reality in this human discourse, isn't there, of death, of doubt, of confusion, of uncertainties, of change, and how we all, no matter our station in life, by the way, how we all get fearful, how we all go into doubt, don't we? We all get confused. We all feel like this is happening to me, actually. Somehow this isn't consistent with life. This is somehow separate, and I am in suffering as a result of those truths. And in fact, all of these beautiful teachings, all of this beautiful wisdom is saying the same thing. Yes, there is the fall, the autumn, and things will die by their nature, right? There is the autumn. We can even use the seasons, and things will die out of necessity by their nature. Things will change by their nature. Things will fall by their nature. And from that loss, from that sense of change, from that appeared ending, right? And the Easter story is there too. From that appeared ending, there is then a thing we're going to practice a little bit today. And in the story of Easter, which actually means something like Easter is the collection of flowers, the collection of beauty, the collection of love, the collection of faith, the collection of oneself. From that desperation, from that suffering, from that distress, from that uncertainty, from that doubt, from that very angst, there is a quiet that grows. And this particular Saturday, happens to be that period of quiet following the death on Good Friday. And so there is a quiet. And in that quiet, as we know from this practice, things become clear. The reality of new life, of possibility, of growth, of wisdom, of love, of compassion continues. It continues even when we're saying it's hopeless. Didn't we do that last year at this time? I don't know if any of you remember, but last year, right about now, we were all going, life may be over. Didn't we? We didn't know. Everybody was at home. Nobody was going anywhere. There was this virus, right? This dis-ease, this distress. And we were all in fear and confusion and uncertainty and doubt. And the suffering is big there. The suffering is big there. And then we, all of us, had to get a little quiet. Our normal distractions, right? They could not quite continue. Our normal gatherings and being with friends and busyness, even the travel we normally took, we were not taking. The shopping we had a habit for doing. We at least weren't going out to do it. I think too often we were distracting ourselves with that. Amazon went up, I can't remember the percentage, gigantic, right? Of course, because of our distress in the face of this quiet. And so we train in the quiet to see something. And what does it appear as it begins, right? How does it begin? It begins as a small green shoot. I'm growing, I have a little greenhouse now that I'm growing some seeds in. I'm now going to start trying to grow from seed. And the shoots are so tiny, literally so tiny that you couldn't see them. You couldn't see them if you weren't quiet, if you weren't still, if you weren't patient, if you weren't, right, offering that spaciousness both to the ground and to yourself. You would miss it. And don't we? Because we are scurrying about too often, we miss the fresh, tender green shoot of life that's just budding, just beginning to bud. And so I want to practice with that today because this is a beautiful season for noticing that green shoot. And here we are a year into COVID, right? Now feeling a sense of possibility. Many of my friends have been vaccinated or not vaccinated. It's not really the point. The possibility is the point, right? How do we live every moment then, every day then, with possibility? And in the suttas, it says, and then we rejoice and are glad for the truth of the present moment and all it holds. And then we rejoice and are glad. Now, by the way, no green shoot yet, no appearance yet, no gorgeous blossoms, no warm day, not yet, but we rejoice and be glad for the possibility of this precious moment and all that can be born out of what? Love, compassion, kindness, generosity, care. And then we don't have to look around for what else there is because it is enough. This is it. This is all the teachings. That is enough. And so let's practice together. I found a poem, of course, by John O'Donohue about new beginnings because it's so easy to forget in the dark hour. In the uncertainty, in the change itself, isn't it? We can all become suffering bodies, pain bodies, because we start looking for the evidence that life continues, and we are that. You are that. Stop looking around. You are the love that continues. You are the compassion that remains. You are the one who can hold others in their distress as well as your own. So be watchful of the evidence we all think we need because it's you. You are the tender green shoot of possibility. You are the tender green shoot of love. Nothing else to look for. And so this by John O'Donohue, and then we'll sit. In out of the way places, I love the first line, in out of the way places, not necessarily right in front of you, in out of the way places of the heart where your thoughts never think to wander. This beginning has been quietly forming, waiting until you were ready to emerge. There it is. Gives me goosebumps. Until you were ready to appear. For a long time, it has watched your desire, feeling the emptiness grow inside you, noticing how you willed yourself on, still unable to leave what you had already outgrown. That comfort zone, that place of inertia, of stagnation, we call it small death, that place you had already outgrown. It watched you play with the seduction of safety and the gray promises that sameness whispered, heard the waves of turmoil rise and relent, wondered, would you always live like this? Then the delight, when your courage kindled and out you stepped onto new ground, your eyes young again with energy and dream, a path of plenitude opening before you. Though your destination is not clear, you can trust the promise of this opening. Unfurl yourself into the grace of beginning that is one with your life's greatest desire. Awaken your spirit to adventure, hold nothing back, learn to find ease in risk. Soon you will be home in a new rhythm, for your soul senses the world that awaits you, the world that awaits you in your new birth, in your appearance, in your freshness and newness. This poem by John O'Donohue called New Beginnings. New Beginnings. In out of the way places of the heart where your thoughts never think to wander. This beginning has been waiting for you until you were ready to emerge. And so here we are in that emerging now. I'll put this on Stop Share. I'll send you a link. It's one of those poems we all need to remember, don't we? Like you could read that every day. Oh, yeah, right. Get back here, get here, be this. Yes. Rick, thank you so much. I'm hopeful that it is going to be a beautiful spring there. I know that you will make it so. Yes, I will send it out. So let's prepare to sit. We have this on record. And I'm going to go through a little bit, the phases of Christ. Because there is truth in the seasons, there is truth in the teachings, all of them, right? And so we begin by just inviting a gentle and kind attention here. And I want you to sense as you begin here that you have come from, that this newness, this freshness, this aliveness has come from the last breath, the one you have just let go of. There is no room for the new until we let go, says John O'Donohue in every teaching ever. Until we let go of our old safety nets, our old ways of thinking, our old habits, our old comforts. Until then, we actually cling and suffer. And so we see if we can't let go, actually let be and rest a bit in the flow and the wave of the breath, in its beginning and ending. And we're going to begin again today with the ending, because there is even an ease in this. And we want to become familiar with it, because until we let go, there can be nothing new. And so we just rest in this body, feeling the sense of the body in contact with this vast, wide, open, gorgeous day, whatever the weather. And then we call to mind the things we care about, the things we love, the things that matter. And we ignite the heart. We set it in particular direction and motion. It is no longer about me. It is about that which I love, that which I care about, that which matters, which grows the heart immediately wider. Call those things to mind. And breathe it. I am here for this. I live for this. I awaken for this. I seek the end of suffering and the truth of happiness and freedom for this. And may we practice today, and may it be a benefit to all beings everywhere without exception, omitting none, awakening us, preparing us, freeing us for this very next breath. We begin empty, open, receptive like spring. Filled with possibility. And so the truth of suffering, of distress, that which cannot be avoided, is recognized. We don't get around it. This is not the path or the way, not in any of the teachings. It's right up front. The preciousness of this human life, as well as its vulnerabilities, have to be equally known. And they're often known by the truth that it is not ours to keep. And so we rest in the out breath. Establishing the body, opening the heart. We then place the mind. And we catch a wisp of the breath. But continue to feel into the release. There is nothing to hold. This is often what we theologians say when they are in that position of no more effort. Thy will be done. We practice letting go and simply being. And then you'll begin to notice the resistance or the clinging or the habits just for a while still win out. The thoughts come, the sounds are heard, the body aches. Something calls us away from our true home. And we simply notice and smile and come back to the breath. And it is only the egoic one, the one that wishes to continue to cling, to seek comfort, protection, solid ground. It is this one that screams or cries. And in spite of that chatter, we follow the method, we stay on the path, and we continue. Feeling the release, the opening, the emptying, and the out breath, creating space and room. Pleasant thoughts or unpleasant, we let them all go. And the quiet grows. And the leaves fall. And the tree is bare and still. And it rests in quiet. And Jesus was taken down from the cross and carried by Joseph to a cave and placed inside. And a large boulder was rolled in front of the tomb, and it was silent. And we soften into the body, and we surrender the waiting, because even waiting and seeking are clinging. And so we soften some more, relax the face. Let the breath have you. Let it settle you. We give up hope for another thing, and we give up fear. See if you can begin to feel as it quiets and settles the vast open space in which to rest the mind. And we rest here with whatever arises. There's nothing to push away and yet nothing to cling to. The fear, the pain, the suffering, the grief, the sorrows from just the day before are not gone. They are simply held in a larger space. And on the second day, there was quiet. And those who had faith were waiting, and the faithless were distressed. And it appeared there was no place to rest. And yet, there is always the breath. So with each out breath, we release both the hope and the fear so that we can be most fully here, here in the witnessing, here in the present. And see if we can lighten the breath. Let it breathe itself. And the quiet pervades and awareness arises. And we root ourselves more deeply. Into the present moment. And at the end of that out breath, there is that still, quiet place. Right from the place of nothingness, as we rest, we begin to see the opening. Dim, maybe barely lit. The light of awareness begins to shine. And we begin by shining that light right here on our own bodies. No longer clinging, no longer resisting, simply letting the body be the body, breathing and not breathing. And we smile, we rejoice and are glad for this precious human life gifted to us with this body. Sensations, both pleasant and unpleasant. Coolness and warmth. Moist and dry. Touch and movement and stillness. Pleasure and pain. As we abide this body as the body. We smile, rejoice, and are glad for all the teachings, all the wisdom, all the love, the care, the compassion that is known by this body. We rejoice at all the sounds that this body knows. Pervaded by silence, we know each one. We smile, rejoice, and are glad for all sound. We let them come and we let them go. Making room for the next. Each sound being known. Known within that vast field of silence. The sounds of spring, the sounds of summer, the sounds of autumn, the sounds of winter, the sounds of birth, the sounds of death. We hold them all. We smile, rejoice, and are glad for the knowing. And we empty ourselves of sound and open and deepen into a bigger quiet, a bigger stillness, a bigger silence, a bigger open space as vast as the sky and the oceans. So that we know not only sound, but we know thoughts. And as we notice a thought as a thought, we rejoice and smile and be glad. We rest back and enjoy the arising and passing of thoughts, letting them be known. One of the gifts of this precious human life, knowing a thought is a thought. And can we open our heart minds to them all? Create enough space and room to simply let them rise and be, and to pass and go, all the while we smile and rejoice, and we are glad for the knowing of thoughts as thoughts. Dark thoughts, happy thoughts, whimsical, playful, sorrowful, guilty. We can know them all without being stuck or having to cling to them. We can joyfully rest, simply letting a thought be a thought, smiling at them all. Each one a new beginning. Each one having something to teach us. Just like the breath, just like sounds. Can we shine that light of awareness on thoughts? Resting in the stillness and silence so that we can bear witness and be in refuge, not harmed, not addicted, not in craving, not in rejecting. Just letting a thought be a thought. And we smile and rejoice, and we are glad for knowing thoughts as thoughts. And the silence and the stillness and the quiet pervade. They abide all things. Planning thoughts, judging thoughts, memories, worries, fantasies, tasking, doesn't matter. We rest and smile. And as the quiet deepens, we begin to see and feel and sense emotions as emotions. We can see our fear, our grief, our sorrow, our hope. Our genuine joy, our genuine care. No matter which arises, there is enough space and room. There is enough care to hold them all. And even in this, we can smile, rejoice, and be glad for knowing emotions as emotions. This is a part of the human experience. A part of this precious human life. I have been gifted to know sorrow, to know joy, to know fear, and to feel them all. Like colors of grass and trees and flowers, can I be still and quiet and abide so that they may be known and held and loved. Each one. And as we sit and keep quiet, we begin to feel and see and know those tender grasses. Of the very next moment. Of the very next breath. New life, new possibility, new love. Possible here. And we breathe it in and we open. And we smile and rejoice and are glad for the precious gift of this present moment. Drink it in fully, savor it, whatever it holds. Let it be known. And we no longer seek comfort. We see that the present moment is all there is, and we are eager, filled with joy and energy to simply abide here, this moment, this aliveness, with the love that is here and the sorrow that is here, the colors that are here and the smells that are here, with the sound of the crow and the songbird, with birth and death, with health and illness. We smile and hold them all. The path to the end of suffering is here. And by your very light, your very warmth, the fertile soil of your own good heart, then spring has sprung. And whatever comes from this is good. And so we smile and rejoice and are glad for the goodness, for the possibility, for the blessings. Alive every breath. And out of the way places of the heart where no one thinks to wander, this life awaits you. And as we breathe in, taking in this life as it is right before us, we open to include others who are in this life with us. From our knowing, we know them too. And we hold them and breathe. And rejoice for the knowing of love. Gifted to us this precious present moment. And from that place of quiet and stillness and open space, then there's nothing left to do but love. And we smile and rejoice and are glad for the knowing. And may this love benefit all beings. This very day. Take a moment and open. So often, I know for myself, often, when things are not the way I want them to be, things aren't going the way I had planned, things aren't the color, I've got a big gopher having a big lunch in my yard right now, is an example. And we just got the yard all ready, of course, for Easter celebration with the family. The gopher is winning out. And the more we plant, the more he eats. And can I smile? Can I smile and rejoice and be glad for that gopher? Understanding that there's a lot to learn, right? About how we think things ought to be and how we think they ought to look. And, we do this, the yard's simple, really, because everything in its time, isn't it? Everything, birth and death in its time. And it's so hard without that stillness, I know for me, without that spaciousness to hold it. It just knocks me over and then knocks me over some more until I'm still, right? And then I smile at the gopher and I smile at the whatever's happening, really. But I want to talk about it because Easter, as just an example, again, it's in all traditions. And in the Noble Eightfold Path, it says, it doesn't say, and then it all goes well. That's not the first noble truth. It says, there is the truth of suffering. There is the truth of loss. There is the truth of sorrow, of pain, of disease, of illness. But it continues, thankfully, just like in the Easter message. And it continues, this is not the end of the story. And there is the end to suffering as known by what? My presence, my openness, my non-reactivity, non-resistance, stillness, love, abiding, call it whatever you will. That, I want you to feel it, to know it, because we can talk about it and it gets quite lofty, but it's actually simpler, I think, more often, right? We notice, I think, the grip first. We notice the clinging first. We notice the death grip, literally, first. And then we have to remember sati, how to remember, how to recollect the truth, the greater truth than that moment, that there is more. And that's in all spiritual teachings. And then we are still, and then we see the truth, that there is suffering and a way to its end, that there is confusion and then wisdom from it, right from it. As you go, I don't know, I'm going to have to look more. I have to get closer. I have to be a little more still. I have to, ground a little bit. I've got to know this, because we don't know from here how to do the next moment, really, do we? It's a lie. It's a lie. You don't have to know. In fact, it's just a story that then you knew everything. But I do believe there's a way we can have confidence and faith, but not faith in something else. This is often tomorrow, I know, is, I think, one of the holiest days in the Christian tradition, because of the way really having gone through the death into hell, literally, into the unknown, into the quiet, and then right from that, the arising, right? It's true in all of life. It's true. It's true in the seasons. It's true in all of the traditions. It says this is always true. And even in death, the not knowing, the going in, the being with, and the fact that nothing actually that is ever born dies. It is transformed. To what? I don't know. I don't know what that looks like. I don't get into the, supposing the thing I cannot know. What I can know, however, is what? How it works in this present moment. And then the next arising, what in whatever form it takes. I don't know. I didn't know when I started, did I? How this was going to go. You can't know. Can I show up? Can I have, that's the faith I'm talking about. That's the trust I'm talking about. That's the opening I'm talking about. I don't know who else is doing it around you, and I personally do not care. I'm not worried about what everybody else is doing. I'm worried about what you're doing. Because you've made a commitment in your very being here. And not to me. Well, maybe to me too. I'll include me, maybe to me too. But you've made the biggest commitment to you. May I be most loving. May I be most kind. May I be, by my very presence, an instrument to the good, an instrument of peace, an instrument of love, by that very showing up. And I'm telling you, I don't know any other way. If I had a faster version, I'd share it with you. I have to get quiet every day for some amount of time in order to feel that heart, to know that goodness, to know the preciousness, and to commit myself again and again and again and again and again to living it out. Again and again to living it out. I don't know how I will live it out in the next moment. I only know this one, and it is enough. That's the good news. It is actually enough. Can we just be fully here? I love that idea. Can we be in the birthing and the opening and the including of everything? I'd like to hear from people today. How has this been for you? Here we are in this amazing spring with these amazing potential, right? The vaccines are out and the people are starting to reconnect, and in the midst of it all, what? Things keep changing, right? We don't know how. People keep saying, you think summertime will be back to the, no, I don't think there's any going back. I don't know what summer will be. Do I think I can be loving in it? I'm hopeful. I believe if I'm here, if I get that opportunity, that I will try still. Can I do it now? Is the real question, isn't it? How do you do it now? How do you live now with it, what you can know and what cannot be known right now? So I see some of you on. I'm guessing you want to share. I hope you do. I would love to hear from you. I'm going to sip my tea. Just come on and say hi.
I'll say hello.
Hi, Leslie. Good morning. Happy spring.
Yeah, good morning to you. Good evening to me. It's almost 7 p.m. here.
That's right. And then the good evening that comes. Yes.
But it was a beautiful day here too. Happy spring.
Wonderful.
I
Wonderful.
really, in the meditation, I really like the not having the fear or the hope. That was wonderful. I loved that. Because that regards the past and the future.
That's right.
Both of them I saw was from the past and the future, and both of them were traps. So it was so good to just let those be. And I also love the part about loving all of your thoughts rather than spending sort of years letting go of your thoughts or ignoring your thoughts, or it's always this thing. Okay, it's almost like that the mind is not so valuable in that way, or that the mind and the ego are just too overlapped or entrenched. So
That's right.
that was beautiful also to me, to have to love all my thoughts and then just to let them be and not to let him go, but just let him be. It was a different feeling. So
Yes.
just wanted to share those few things that happened to me during the meditation. Thank you, Dan.
Wonderful, wonderful. Good to hear from you. Isn't it true? Just to let life be as it is, it's so much less. We can simply be joyful in the holding of it, in the knowing of it, then. We don't have to navigate, architect, got to keep this one, I got to get rid of that one. This is good. And then you don't have to even decide, is this a good one or not? You know, a thought is a thought and let it be. You know, a feeling is a feeling. Let them all be. They're here, as Rumi says, right? Guides, opportunity. Uh, I'm prone to preferences myself, as we all get to be. Can I know my preference as my preference? Yes. And then I smile. Yeah, I like blue better than pink. It's okay. That doesn't mean pink doesn't happen in life. That doesn't mean pink's not going to be here. That doesn't mean, right? It just means a preference as it is. I prefer pleasure to pain also. Funny thing. Can I? Sure, I can know that, right?
Then you could still smile with the pain then.
That's right. And then we bow to this, right? Then we bow to this too. Yes, this part of the present, this part of this human life that we're all going to know. No way out. We're all going to know it, right? The fear, the uncertainty, the what about this, the what if I can't know? How do I know to act? How do I know to respond? Well, you respond to what's right here, and then you can trust that. And then you can rest, just like I asked you to do over and over again. Rest in what's here, know what's here. It will lead you perfectly, as life does, into the next. I have infinite faith in that capacity that we have been gifted. I see you writing here.
Dennis.
Hi, Dennis. How are you, Dennis? Good to see you.
Well,
Blessings.
as I just wrote, I'm so thankful to be here with you and everyone who's here because spending time, in a hospital, noisy hospital, not quiet, not serene, but noisy. All the nurses talking to the doctors, no walls, only curtains, and oh, you can rest. And you're all wired up like an octopus. And you're going, oh, how can I get some rest? Can you keep it down? Oh, I'll talk to them about it. And you're going, whoa, Lord have mercy. And
Lord
you
have
just say,
mercy.
yeah,
Yes, the quiet places within.
yeah.
Rarely, particularly in my distress, I will tell you. I sometimes have trouble finding it in there also. I have
Amen. And
I know it's there, but I have to you know, uh, find a place to anchor, find a place. And sometimes it's the breath. By the way, sometimes it's not the breath. Sometimes it's letting that sound come and go and literally just wash through you because it's not going away. Or, right, closing the eyes and just placing an image there, finding that refuge for yourself. But it is true. Whenever we're looking for that around us, often, I have to tell you, it's
and I have to tell you, your reminder about taking the 12 breaths.
Yeah.
I was doing that a lot.
I really know you were. I know you were. We get asked, don't we, in these critical moments? Find something, anchor to something, center to something. It is not often available in a hospital. It is not often available in a medical appointment where you don't know outcomes. It is not often available. It's why we practice, don't we? Continuing. Where do I place the mind? How do I settle in and back and find a place of spaciousness and rest? And it takes a lot of practice because those moments are tsunami level.
And I got to share with everybody that I met the nicest cardiologist, a doctor woman. Her name was Leslie. She showed me her picture of her 3 children, 3 young children. And I said, wow, that's wonderful. I said, well, what does your husband do? Oh, he's a surgeon. I'm going, whoa. I said, here she is, has three little, really cute little people in her life. And here she is in the, there with me, talking with me.
Yeah.
I'm feeling like you ought to be with your little ones, you should be with them. And and yet her heart is telling her that's where she needs to be, how she needs to be serving.
Yes,
And I just thought that was so gracious
yes.
of this young mother to be there and doing what she was doing. I just,
How lovely. So
yeah,
you became her little child too,
yeah,
didn't you? She
yeah,
offered that, yeah, that
yeah,
young mother
yeah.
offering that
So
love
that was kind of like,
to you. Infinite forms, that's the good news. But it is true when we're looking around us, I want us all to notice what Dennis is saying. When we get overwhelmed, particularly, or are fearful, particularly, or are in distress of the unknown or uncertainty, particularly, we often look out either for information or facts or quiet or love out there. And it isn't always as seeable. Remember what I said? We don't always see the fresh green shoot until our own quiet.
yep,
And then you see what? This young mother who's gifted patience every day, her presence instead of just being with her young ones. And we say, oh, I remember.
yep.
I
And
remember.
and here's the other thing. Right next to my bed was a screen. So I could constantly see my heart rate and what it was doing.
Yes.
And I was just, and I noticed all the nurses out there at the nursing station, whoa, they're all looking at their screens too. And I mean, they're just, everything is on the screens. So I finally got to the point where I started looking away from the screen. I said, this is not helping me to see my heart fluttering and doing what it was doing. I said, "Hmm." So I did that, and eventually, they released me after a time, and I just am so thankful to, be breathing this fresh air and be outside, and that's what I ask a lot of the people. I said, "Do you get a chance to get outside and breathe in fresh air?" Oh yeah, we do from time to time, and that particular day it was warm. It was a warm day, so
Yeah.
when I got picked up, it was a very, that Santa Ana condition
It
had
was a
taken over.
very warm day.
Yeah, and
Yep,
so
that sun beat right down on you, didn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So
Well,
bless you.
Dennis, we're very happy that you're well, that you're here,
Well,
that you got
bless,
through the procedure.
blessings to everybody on this Easter.
Yes,
Blessings.
yes. New beginnings right now. New beginnings right now. Let's see if anyone else we thank you, Dennis, for also being here with us. Blessings are being sent your way always, and we're for sure on that day. So what else is true? What else is true? We have just a minute. Anything else that somebody wants to offer before we close? What else is true for you in this time?
Um, I found for the experience with this meditation, first off, it was guided so beautifully. And like many times with meditations with you, I feel like you're speaking to my felt experience in that exact moment. But what I found was when I was sitting and I could feel that wide open space and there were thoughts, but they weren't necessarily attached to me. And it was just this very pleasant feeling. And then I felt myself like holding on to it, like, oh, this is so nice. I need to make sure that I stay here and stay present, which obviously moved me further away. And it was similar to what someone said earlier when you were when you came to that, thoughts being just thoughts, being with what it is, the grasping went away, and I was able to just be there and not put judgment on anything. So I just wanted to share that it was a really, really beautiful experience for me. So thank you.
Yes. It's so good to know what the cause of our suffering is. And it is always in the grasping. It is always in the clinging. It is always into the wanting something else or not wanting what happens to be arising. And we really, a part of the stillness is resting back from all of that movement, right? And letting the objects move while we rest in stillness. Let the objects move. Let the noise be the noise and the quiet be the quiet. And you rest in that vast open space that only has quiet, that only has stillness in it. Nothing else lasts. Nothing. However noisy, doesn't last. However beautiful, doesn't last. However horrible, doesn't last either. However unknown, becomes more known. It's the nature of all things. And so can we both celebrate, enjoy, and not cling? This is the key. And not cling to this new moment, this new life, this new spring, this new possibility, right? That's before us all now, called this beautiful day, this present moment. Can we love it and also let it be? Love it and let that love be. Nothing to take. Nothing to take. I notice whenever I'm looking for something, it's usually the beginning of a problem for me. Usually looking. Did somebody, right? Did they get it? Is it okay? Did it go right? I'm in the seeking. And in that seeking, I'm no longer here. It's the beginning of the suffering, just like that gopher. I looked out the yard this morning going, oh boy, just planted those new blue hibiscus. That's good. And guess what? Gopher holes everywhere. And I could feel, I knew it before I looked over the deck because I was already in seeking. It didn't matter what was on the other side of that deck. I already was going, is it right? Well, it is okay. It's already okay. I didn't have to look out anywhere. It's okay right here. Can I rejoice and be glad? Precious day. Gopher holes and none. No problem. Blue hibiscus or no blue hibiscus because they got eaten. Or not. Yes, the truth is I can smile at this and go, what was I thinking? I thought I needed a blue hibiscus in order for this to be a good day. It's not even true. It's not even true, is it? I bought into if you could only get this, then that would, right? So be watchful of what you think today needs to be that's larger than you. Nothing. Let it be filled with you, the love of you, the joy of you, the presence of you, and it will be a very good day. Yes, evidently it's a gopher weekend. Yes, Caddyshack. Yes, one of my favorite lines is from Bill Murray, who said, I was a caddy for the Dalai Lama. I got that going for me. May we be the caddy to our own love and blessings. It's already 9:03. I know we're already late. I don't want to hold us. May we place our hands together or place them on your hearts, remembering Sati. Remember, recollect this goodness, this love, and then do everything you can to live it big, live it loud. Much love to you all. Blessings to everyone. If you have the chance, Andy and I were donating our time on Thursday at the vaccine stations. And by the way, it was one of the most pleasant, positive, joyful events I've participated in a long time. And the joy of it was seeing everyone's relief. and being able to talk with people who had illnesses or transplants or were vulnerable in some way, feeling held by the volunteers. And so many thank yous. It was really quite striking, wasn't it, Andy? I was so touched by that amazing opportunity. I'm definitely going to do it again. We got to learn a little system there, learned how to check people in. I definitely, now that I feel like I have a little expertise, I'm going to go back and do it again. Find your way to making some contribution. Offer yourself in whatever way you do. Do that. Live, love big and large and wonderful today. All right, everyone. Be well. Mwah. Love to you all. Happy Easter. Happy Passover. Happy spring. Enjoy. See you on Monday night.